How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan, and I'm here to tell you guys about the Snobs.com. We're a channel of variety, comedy, entertainment, geek-related, sports, the whole nine yards. We cover almost every genre. And we have so many great shows to choose from. We have shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast, BTB Podcast, The Guapo Show, the Sports Snobs Podcast, the PVD Cast, Jeff Dwoskin presents Crossing the Streams, the Three Geeks Podcast, the Fandom Effect. We probably have the only Matlock-based podcast called Matt Talk, and we're introducing new shows all the time. We have new shows coming up like the Ear Hustling Podcast, Carpool Shenanigans, and of course, from some nobodies, Twitching Upstream and Talking Upstream. So come on, check out thescenesnobs.com, enjoy it, and please leave feedback. Like, follow, subscribe us, and just let us know what you think. We love to have all the interaction. So I, again, am the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan. Check out thescenesnobs.com. You can follow us anywhere on social media at The Scene Snob, and we will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Welcome to the Scene Snob interviews with your host, Mick Manhattan. Please like and subscribe to our channel and follow us at the Scene Snob.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Scene Snobs interviews, and I am back again with another interview with a great filmmaker, and I am happy to bring him on the show and learn more about his production company, J96 Productions. Today I'm joined by Philip Johnson, and Philip, hello. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Just got through making some more YouTube videos, so that's always great.
So I had a chance to check out your YouTube page and your Facebook page, and I really dig it. You got some cool stuff going. I love the filmmaking aspect to it. So, how long have you been doing filmmaking and such?
It really started about in 2020. After I saw the movie Joker by Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix's performance really spoke to me a lot more. I always was going to go somewhere in the film realm, but filmmaking really just made me look at that movie and just think that I could make something even more spectacular one day at some point. So that's really where my journey just started.
I love those stories, absolutely, because I started out in filmmaking myself and producing, but it was Jurassic Park for me as a kid. I saw the scene with the Brachiosaurus and for the first time, how big it was and how little I was. That was like the thing that woke me up and was like, I need to do this. So, I mean, that's a fantastic story. I love those. Now, J96, where does the name come from?
So the J stands for Johnson, and 96 is the year I was born, 1996. It's basically to have that footprint so where I can leave a legacy for the future children that I have, the future family that I have, just trying to make my stamp on the world right now. So that way, when my family does end up taking over, then they'll have something rather than nothing.
That's beautiful, man. I love that. And it's so important. You've already made a short film called Hangman, right?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell us a little bit about that? I don't want to give anything away because I want people to go to your YouTube page, which will be in the descriptions, everybody, and check it out.
That movie was really it was one of those I just want to hurry up and make one, so let's just hurry up and make one type of deal. And while I was writing it, it really just made me think those childhood games that you always play. There's always some sort of way you can spin that into making it something different rather than the same thing. So I really just thought, okay, serial killer could be trying to play Hangman with the individual. So, without giving too much away, I think that really tells a story And from that, if you put yourself in the shoes of the person while watching the film, you're gonna understand like how great the message is going to be at the end.
100%, and I love that too because that's such a cool concept of using Hangman for serial killing. Like you do see a lot of in the serial killer, especially in the I'd say the early 2000s. They really went with like using computer games, things like that. But I don't think anybody's ever used Hangman before, and that's a very cool concept. I loved it. Um, is that something you would in the future maybe want to expand on, or?
Actually, yeah, I really do want to expand, kind of making it like a TV series where, like it's almost like the Scream thing, except it's not, played out like the comedy role type. I think it would make more of an impact with the younger crowd because then obviously no one really plays Hangman anymore because it's more of those things for the older generation. But I think when it comes to more inventive type shows, I just haven't seen that many. So I feel like something like that would really get people interested and actually want to watch something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, when it comes to like training for filmmaking and such, what's some of your go-tos?
I usually I have my master class. I usually go to that a lot whenever I'm either, even if it's not just training in general when it comes to filming. Sometimes I just go for motivation because I look at, Spike Lee's masterclass. I look at Martin Scorsese's masterclass, and they really have good points and good pointers. And another filmmaker that's really not looked at as a really great one is Werner Herzog. He's like a really good German filmmaker, and he's really good at explaining the process. And one of the things that really stuck with me was even though you're a filmmaker, you're most likely going to be writing your own scripts. So he said, want to read every type of script that has to do with the genre that you're making, any type of book that has to do with the writing process. You just want to read it so that way you know how the story's supposed to go and how to tell a story as well. So I would say my go-to is masterclass for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. And who are some of your inspirations besides them of getting into it? I know you said Todd Phillips' Joker was a big one. Is there anybody else that you've you kind of like latched onto and maybe you've been watching their stuff more and more?
I mean, honestly, I think I know it's like a weird answer, but I look a lot at a lot of Kevin Hart. Like,
Okay.
it's not really the filmmaking aspect. It's more of like the drive that he has because he does multiple things constantly, and just I really look at the drive that an individual has when I want to be motivated by somebody. Like because I could say Quentin Tarantino because obviously he makes a lot of films, but I think the drive aspect is more of a you got to go for it when you don't have it. And obviously, if you look at Quentin Tarantino, he has all the connections, everything like that. But from when Hart started out, it just seems that he made that climb a lot more. And that kind of reminds me of me. I try to make my climb as much as I can. I try to do as many videos as I can, try to help out other filmmakers as possible as I can, so that way I can get the experience that I need. Because whenever it comes to me honing my craft, I always tell myself I need to learn every job on set, so that way I can be as versatile as possible when I'm directing. So honestly, I think that Kevin Hart's probably one of my bigger motivators.
That's a great answer too, because he is. I mean, you see him out there, and he's always talking about that and staying motivated and such, and that is very important, especially in filmmaking. So, yeah, that's definitely a great motivator to kind of emulate and go after. So, for you, how many shorts have you shot in 2020? I know it's been a tough year, but I mean, have you? How many have you gone through?
I only went through 3 because of the pandemic actually happening. One is actually on my channel, and two of them I helped with other filmmakers.
Right.
So, but this year I know for a fact that I'm going to try to do at least 5 to 6, just because of all of the mitigations that we can do now when it comes to filmmaking. There's really not a way that it can be stopped at this point, because if you if you really just take the time to learn every standard that you need to know when it comes to the new filmmaking regulations with COVID, honestly, you'll run into lots of people who want to make films, lots of people who are COVID supervisors who are willing to help you out. So um, I think this year is going to be a lot better than last year for everybody, and to me, because I'm going to be making a lot more short films. So it's more to see. There's a short film called Ash coming out this year by me, so it's definitely
Oh,
going to
no.
be here.
Oh, fantastic! And have you are you gonna start aiming for festivals this year too, with especially with Hangman?
Yeah, I'm gonna work hard to get in a couple of festivals, but even if the deadlines are past due or anything like that, I'll probably just start making the films and putting them out on my YouTube, because I
Nice.
know on some festivals they require you to not show it beforehand.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's great to put them in festivals, but I honestly just want to get my content out there.
And I fully understand, especially building up your own channel. That's fantastic. And so for you, getting into it, I mean, it's been, yeah, I guess it's been about just over a year or so now. And 3 films is nothing to, like scoff at, because that's a, most people don't even make one. They have the dream and they don't even make one. And so, I mean, you made 3 during the time of COVID. So that's fantastic. And I applaud you for that. And 6 is a great goal for this year. So, I mean, double up. I love it. So trying to do every job on set, I think, is an important one. We all start out, at the bottom of the barrel and then work our way up. What are some lessons you've come across while doing, other jobs on set that help you strengthen you as a director?
I think the biggest job that people kind of overlook is audio. Audio is like uh, a really big thing when it comes to filmmaking, because so for example, like if you're filming on a highway, obviously it's going to be very loud, and audio engineers can do anything. They can just make it sound good, and that's really not true. There's some things that just can't be done with the equipment that you have. So appreciating the fact that audio equipment is so versatile, but also the people that use audio equipment are so good at their craft that they'll be able to make your movie sound good. Like, I feel like audio engineering is definitely the first spot that you need to work really hard at, because you want to make sure that your picture's clear, but also your audio is clear as well.
Oh yeah, audio is so important too, especially audio in a horror film. Its sound is such a major piece that really brings it together. I mean, those jump scares don't work if there's no audio in them, right? Um, what are some movies that you go to that when you're watching, and as you're going along? I know you said with the masterclass and you watch some of those directors' movies, but what are some of your go-tos? Like, have always been like, I love this movie for this reason. Maybe shots or scenes that really stick out for you.
I think the main movie I love, and I think a lot of people kind of overlook it, is Sweeney Todd. Um, I think it's a really great movie with Johnny Depp. He really took to that character in a way that I didn't really think he could. Um, and it's just the music along with the acting, it just makes it all meld together. And the story is like, from the beginning, you're hooked at it, because like he arrives on a boat, he tells a guy about his story, and from there it's just like they go into this really depressing story about him getting his wife taken away by another guy, and him getting sent off to prison just because he wanted to be with the woman that he loved. And then
Mhm.
throughout the whole story, you're just hooked to his story. So I would say that's like my go-to movie. If anybody wants to see what a real story looks like, I think that's the movie that they should watch.
So, and I love how you're mentioning story. And when it comes to writing, I know on your channel you've had the screenwriting challenges and such up. Um, like, what are some screenplays that you've been reading that really stand out to you?
The Joker screenplay for one, because it's it's not like they went off script, but it's more like they went into more detail than the script did when they said lines that they had. Um, Especially Joaquin Phoenix, he's really good. At what he does. I just love every movie he's ever been. Um, Also, just the movie Glory, for example, too. It came out a long time ago, but it's a really good script. Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman, I really love how they took to that part, because Denzel Washington is just like supposed to be playing this guy who, he's a slave, but he's also, cocky. He knows that, African Americans are supposed to be, you know, getting the right getting the right call and getting on the right track. But obviously, back then, war was going on, and when it came to war, they were the first African American platoon, and it's really an overlooked movie because it really like highlights growth. It highlights, you learning something, even if you had the same mindset coming in, you got to have a different mindset coming out, no matter what it is. I really do think that the screenplays were really what made it a really great movie.
Oh yeah, that is such an amazing story, through and through, and the acting just killed it. I mean, in that movie, it made the movie. Like, I mean, as beautiful as it looks and as sweeping as and epic as the tale is, like, it's the acting right down to its core, I think, that made that movie as perfect as it is. Um, so, and that's awesome to hear, because you don't hear a lot of, epic movies really being read when it comes to screenplays. And it's cool to hear you say that, because I think that's so important. I mean, look at the really true epic movies, and those tales are huge. Those tales are usually original too. And Sweeney Todd, to use that as a reference, that's pretty awesome. And especially love that you went with the musical route. It went the musical route with telling of story, because it's a very rarely picked upon by filmmakers, I think. So
Yeah, for sure. I think Johnny Depp is one of those people who can make anything great. But I think those types of movies, I don't know why, but people just seem to not watch them because it's a musical.
mhm.
Uh, I've noticed that with a lot of people when it comes to musicals, they don't necessarily like watching them. But it honestly, in my opinion, tells a lot more of a story than regular films, um, especially Les Miserables, with Hugh Jackman. It was a really great movie, too. That's also another one of my go-to movies because it's just, it's so, like, innovative, especially for the time that it came out. For you to actually watch that movie, it really speaks to anybody who cares about story and cares about people's lives in general.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic choice, first of all. But also, Johnny Depp is, as an actor too. I mean, he can change his form so well. When you're looking, as a director, and you're talking to actors and directing them, how do you help them get to that point? Like, what have you picked up along the way?
When it comes to that, I honestly tell them when they get on set, when they're trying to remember their lines and things like that, I just tell them to go ahead and show me how they think it's supposed to be perceived, and then when they show me, and maybe I want it to be a kind of different way, I kind of say, I give them an example of them in their real life. So, for example, I'll say something like, if I want them to be more emotional, I say, you know, what actually happened to you? Like, kind of think about what goes on in the world in general. Do you think that this individual would really not be crying if they lost their child, or if they, hurt themselves to the point where, you know, they were disabled, something like that. Just giving them that insight to where if anybody were to be going through it, what would they be doing? And that's really how people kind of just understand where I'm trying to come from. And then when I tell them that and they actually take what I say to heart, everything just comes out the right way. And I wouldn't really say right way because I feel like what I mean is emotionally, it looks authentic.
Yes. That's awesome. And so, I want to talk to you a little bit about like, the fun side of filmmaking, because there's always laughs when you're on a set. It's definitely a lot of fun, and it becomes sort of like a family. For you, what are some of your favorite stories from being on set on these 3 films? Any fun tidbits or anything like that come about?
I think the funnest parts are the behind the scenes, when it doesn't go right, you know. Like I don't really have that part of me that gets angry if someone messes up a line, because really it's kind of funny sometimes. Like
Sure.
one time it was just supposed to be, there was this guy for my film supposed to be, you know, calling into the individual for Hangman, right?
Mhm.
Was supposed to be receiving the call, and the whole time he was calling, and then when we answered the phone, his audio was off, so he wasn't saying anything. And oh, we don't hear anything, we don't hear anything, and the whole time he's like yelling into the phone like what his lines are, and then so we have to go outside and actually, I'm like, hey, we can't hear you, and then he sees that the button was on that says mute for his audio, so it was just things like that that really it makes you like, I guess, make light of a situation that could be bad, but it's actually kind of funny because you know we're just trying to do everything so quickly, and if we were just going to take our time, you know, it would have been better. And I think that's really like a lesson that I learned is, you know, taking your time really aids you when it comes to filmmaking, even if it takes a little bit longer to get the shot that you want and a couple more takes. You know, you just want to make sure that you do it and you do it the right way.
That's great advice too. And it's so, you learn that so early on, which is important. But yeah, it is those little things, that you find on set that I always remember. Just kind of the hangouts, the fun jokes that you learn along the way, the late nights of doing something that just wasn't getting it right, but you weren't feeling bad about it. You're just like, all right, we'll get this, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Take after take. So as a director too, you're kind of course, captaining the ship when you're in production. As a director, what is and you're produced as well. So like as a producer, even too, how much do you sort of give up to the people that you entrust to do the other jobs? Like, is there a trust there for you that, you're just like, all right, I'm hands off. This is your job. I trust you. Go right ahead.
I think to an extent, I trust the people that are working with me because obviously their names are going to be on the project. So I don't think that they would intentionally sabotage or anything like that. I think that to an extent, I extend the trust out. But if I say, like, for example, I want my gaffer to have a lot more lighting in this area, and I don't tell him, I just assume that because of maybe a movie that he saw that I made, or maybe the way that he portrays the light should be because of his experience as a gaffer, that he thinks it should be one way. If I don't speak up, I'm not going to get what exposure I want on the camera for the film that I'm trying to make. So it's not really, I wouldn't trust anyone to do their job correctly. I just think if I want something done the right way to my standard, then I want to say something to them, and I don't want them to take it in a way that I'm, micromanaging them. It's just if I wanted a certain way, then I wanted a certain way. And if it was for them switching roles to where they wanted to make something and I was helping them out, I would expect the same thing back. So I honestly think that everybody has strengths and everybody's really good at what they do. And if we do trust each other, it'll go along a lot faster and a lot smoother. But overall, I do have a lot of trust in the people that work with me, and I appreciate everybody's help when they help me.
That's I can understand that. So like when it comes down to it, one thing that I think every film fan, I have a few questions for them just to kind of get down to like the nitty gritty of all filmmakers of like what really drives them. And the first question being is if you could direct any movie all throughout time, or even in the future, even if you project something that you would like to remake or just put together, or any other, you were the director on like Raging Bull or something like that. What's the number one movie you would go after if time were the aspect of it?
I think I'd go after one of my all-time favorite movies, Silence of the Lambs.
Nice.
I really love that movie. And to be able to work with that cast, I think would probably be the biggest thing. There's not much I would change in the movie itself because it's such a great movie. I think I would add something more, I guess, humane to it. I would just love to get something in that movie done differently to, accentuate like what I like to do and the passion that I would have for that. I just think that movie is definitely the go-to that I would want to actually make.
I love that. I love that answer too. So with that, then, like if you did have a chance, and I know you said you wouldn't change much, but is there a certain scene or something that you would tweak or say like I would go a different route with it? Like you said, make it like a little more humane. Like what's like a change you might make in that movie?
I would say the part where Jodie Foster's character meets the killer inside the movie who's locked up and basically kills anybody that comes near him. I think I would change that. Instead of her standing outside of the bar, she actually does go in, like, in the beginning. And I would say that because from the way the movie was going, it just seemed like he wasn't going to hurt her in the first place, like regardless of what she did. He would just wanted to play with her mind, get into her head and actually just, it was like one of those things where he loved getting into people's heads. So it would have been a more intense feeling from the audience to actually see her go into the cell with him and actually act as if she's not afraid of that guy, because obviously she wasn't, but she wanted the information for her case. So it was just the fact that, honestly, in my opinion, if she would have went in, I think I would have saw a little bit more of the story unfold. Maybe things that he didn't tell her at all in that movie that would have come out and would have made everybody understand him a lot better too.
Okay, I like that. And if you have never seen it, you should check out Manhunter. That is another movie where they have Hannibal Lecter in, but it's William Peterson plays the FBI profiler, has to connect with Hannibal Lecter. He actually, in the books and in the movies, caught Hannibal Lecter, but he's going after another killer, so he has to go back to Hannibal Lecter to help him profile. I think that's one that you might like too, because it's very similar in tone. Now, it's not Anthony Hopkins. They actually remade it into a movie called Red Dragon, where Anthony Hopkins did play the role. But if you go with Manhunter, I think it's a much better movie. But there's with that, like I kind of get a feel, especially with Hangman, that horror is a very important genre to you. Is that one that you'd really like to keep delving into to explore?
Yeah, I mean, I love horror. Horror was actually one of the things that inspired my movie coming out, Ash. So I had this book and it's called The Book of Death. Um,
Mm.
and it just tells you about all of the possibilities of what happens after death. So, reincarnation, heaven, things like that. And in that book, there's a cremation. So I took that and I just said, okay, what would a film that has to do with cremation actually involve? And then from that, I just got the movie Ash, someone about to go spread their parents' ashes at some point, you know, um, and all of these altercations and things happen when it comes to family. What actually happened? Was there a murder? Things like that. And so
Mm.
that just unraveled into the short film that I made. So I think horror is definitely something that I love to do. But honestly, horror for me wouldn't be good without drama. So I tend to have a lot of drama in my horror films because I just love how the audience can, relate to certain things that people go through. And from that, it makes it even better experience when watching the film.
I love it. And that's so well put. And I hope other horror filmmakers who are starting out see that they will see this or hear it and say, yeah, that's true. You need drama. Because I do find that some horror films I watch, I'm like, there's no drama here. There's just a lot of killing. So I do love that. That's great advice. Now, here comes the important. Oh, excuse me. Here comes the important question. So I really need you to think about this one. Top 5 remote dropper movies. If it's on the TV, you're not going anywhere.
I would say my first one would be Kill Bill, the first.
Nice.
Quentin Tarantino just has this way of making movies that it just pulls you in. I just love that movie. I can't stop watching it whenever it's on like a random channel. That's probably my top number one movie I would watch. Uh, I'd say my second one would be Jason X, and
Okay.
that's something that a lot of people disagree with. I think it was interesting how they went, him going into space and then him, getting redone. I mean, obviously the people who brought him in are kind of dumb because obviously from the point of seeing the hockey mask on him, I think that was a big cue. Like, okay, that's obviously Jason Voorhees, but I think it was at a different time period. But I think overall it was great. The fight scenes were awesome. Them trying to actually fight Jason, which I don't normally see in a lot of movies, which is why I love that.
Yeah.
And my third one is Freddy versus Jason because it was just the first time I saw two actual horror like staples actually getting into a movie together, and the way that they fought each other was just interesting. Like they preyed on their weaknesses that they each had, and it was like the first time you actually see Jason like kind of instead of just that guy who's just fumbling around, he actually like, okay, I noticed that fire is messing with him, so I'm gonna do even more fire now. It was interesting to see. I'd say my fourth one would be Candyman.
Oh,
It's just like
that I have a rule on this channel. You can only say that 3 more times, and that's it.
oh yeah, I just love it.
It's such a great movie.
I don't know. It's just one of the first horror movies I've ever seen, and a lot of people don't even know that movie. So Jordan Peele is potentially going to be doing something with that. I saw the trailer for it, and it looks pretty good. I'm really going to be seeing that at some point, whenever he puts it out. But yeah, that movie is really great too. And I guess my last one, it wouldn't really be just one movie. It would be the whole Saw trilogy. I love all those Saw movies. Like they're just they have all these traps, and they're really interesting how people choose to go about doing those traps. Like some people will just risk their life for something, or they'll screw the other guy, and it shows you who that person is, like what type of character that person really is, even though they put up a facade probably in the beginning, and I think the fact that Jigsaw that came out almost made it look like he was still alive, and it kind of like tricked the audience. It really like made me think about how good those movies are, and the fact that they stopped making them for real is like really an injustice to the trilogy. I know that Chris Rock is going to be coming out with another installment of Saw, so I'm hoping to see that in the future. But I think those are my definite top 5.
Those answers were amazing. I loved every single one of them. When you said Jason X, I don't, anybody watching this will see my ears perked up. I'm like, really? Because I never would have thought to have heard that, but I'm so delighted I did. And then Freddy versus Jason, and it added to it. Like those are supposed to be movies that are like, yeah, okay, I want to drop them in on this, And I really, those were great answers. I loved every one of them, especially your take on Jason X. And it's not, and don't ever think it's wrong, because no movie you say, if it makes you feel something, it's never wrong. So I think you're going to go far. I think you're going to do great stuff. You have a passion for it, I can tell, and you have a knowledge, and that's important. You have a thirst for that knowledge, especially. So, Phil, thank you so much for coming on today. I wish you the best, man. I'm going to keep track of your career. I'm going to be watching J96, of course. And anytime you got something you want to promote, please hit me up over here on the Scene Snobs, and I will be happy to do it on the channel and promote for you, because I think that's important.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for having me. It was really great talking to you. I love film, and I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to definitely check out your channel a lot more, too.
And anytime you want to come back on, just shoot me a message. You're more than welcome to do that.
Oh, for sure, definitely. I definitely.
So everybody, go check out J96 Productions. It's in the descriptions below, but you can check them out on YouTube. You can follow them over on Facebook. It's important that we do that. We support and we foster the indie spirit. Right here, Philip is doing things, especially during the time of 2020 where it was tough, and going into 2021 where he's really driven and he's doing great things. So I want to support that. Everybody go check them out. I have complete faith in you. You're going to do great work, man, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Ash and everything else that you got planned.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Of course, I'm Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. You can check us out and check more interviews out over on thescenesnobs.com. All right. Take care, everybody. And that's our show, everybody. Thanks for listening. I am Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. We always appreciate you guys tuning in and commenting along and everything else. Go check out this show or any of our other shows on thescenesnobs.com. Thescenesnobs.com. We love you. You guys are awesome. And if you would like, follow and subscribe to our social media. That really helps us go a long way. And please spread the word. Tell your friends. Have them come in. We love feedback and everything else. So everybody, you have a great day. Again, thanks for listening. Thescenesnobs.com. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa Welcome Bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.